Hello there, travelers, and welcome to the Horror Greenbook. I am your travel guide, Brendan, and today we are going to discuss Scream 6. I just saw it last night in the theaters, and it was a fantastic time. But before we get into that, travelers, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. It helps the video get out in the algorithm, helps it find other travelers such as yourself who may like this. But as I said before, I went last night to check it out. It did not disappoint. Fantastic job done by the cast. Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega. Oh my gosh, everybody did a great job. The return of Hayden Panettiere, Courtney Cox, the legacy characters, they did a great job. But this film is more so about the passing of the baton to the new generation, aka the Core Four, as they are dubbed in this particular entry. But it's a great time. I want to say that I'm going to keep this spoiler free, but a little bit on down towards the end, we'll divulge into a few spoilers, but I'll make sure to give plenty of warning before that. But the beginning, the actual intro to the movie, um, it is probably the most creative one that the series has had since Scream 4. I know Scream 4 was a bit divisive for some travelers, but me, I really enjoyed it. They took a big swing, and for me, it hit. I try not to think too hard about that intro to Scream 4, but Scream 6 goes in a different direction. Um, very creative. It's very easy for these films to become very formulaic, and you want to make sure that the viewers are kept on their feet, so to speak. So they did a fantastic job of that. I mean, they continue to do a great job of bringing new things into the series, for the more seasoned Scream fans, such as myself, who saw the original in theaters as a young kid. But this takes place in New York City. The fact that this is outside of Woodsboro is a great breath of fresh air. Now, I love the setting of Woodsboro, but the thing about it is, with it being such a small town, you know, it doesn't feel as expansive as it does in the universe, meaning the story, meaning that the ordeal that Sidney Prescott has gone through has gone out to the world and has affected so many people. You like to kind of see the results of that out in the world. So, we know that it has gone through Hollywood through the Stab series. They've had so many entries into that, but you get to see it out in the actual world in New York City. And the fact that, once Ghostface arrives, sales spike for Ghostface masks in the city. So it is a bit reflective to, real society. Another thing that I liked about this particular film is the fact that it is almost a spiritual successor to Scream 2. Scream 2 is one of my favorite films in the Scream franchise. Another one that I saw in theaters, great memories. And the fact that it also takes place on a college campus, and though it's not really a spoilers per se because you see it in the actual trailers, but the fact that also a very important portion of the film takes place in a theater. So, I mean, those callbacks are great, along with many other callbacks to the series, such as, you know, tons of Easter eggs in the shrine. Oh my goodness. I mean, no matter which Scream is your favorite, it is addressed in some way in the shrine. So be on the lookout for that. That's something that a lot of fans will be pausing and rewinding and identifying so many different things. I already know that some guys or some gals are really getting on that for sure. Um, Next, I would say that just the fact that they really ramp up the storyline here. As I said, this is a passing of the baton to the new generation of characters. So we have Sam and we have the twins, and we have you know Tara as well, and they do a fantastic job. Now, as a fan, obviously, of the A Nightmare on Elm Street series, um, one of the things that fans of Nightmare 3 Dream Warriors have a big gripe with is when they go to the next sequel, Nightmare 4 The Dream Master, some of our favorite characters that we enjoyed in that previous installment weren't really respected, regardless of their demise. It's just the fact that it just felt like they went through that previous ordeal for no reason. And I can say, as a Nightmare fan, I am very envious of how they treated the new generation of characters that some people really really enjoy. Chad, oh my goodness, I cannot speak more highly on the writing in regards to Chad. In the Scream universe power rankings, he has really risen higher in the ranks. They really do good in regards to him. Sam, wow. Also with Sam, I mean, I know some people were really on the fence in regards to her. I mean, taking over um, in regards to being the new final girl of the series, but I can say safe to say that the franchise is in good hands with Melissa Barrera. She really steps her game up. Not to say that she did a bad job in the previous installment, but you can tell that she's really more comfortable in the role and her place in the series. Um, Nev, oh my goodness. Now, story wise, I'll say that it, Sydney wasn't necessarily needed, but they did pay respect to Sydney. The times that she was mentioned, it felt earned. It didn't seem really, just okay. We're gonna have to throw her name out there to, just acknowledge what she's doing. No, it generally, I would say that it made sense in this particular story why Sydney wasn't there. It leaves the door open for her to come back or to never return again. And hopefully whatever happens in the real world situation in the franchise with Nev Campbell and the producers and the studios, hopefully it gets worked out. But if it doesn't, we've had fun memories with Nev, and I think Melissa will be able to take care of us going forward. Um, Roger Jackson as Ghostface in this installment. He feels really rejuvenated. I'm very very happy to see that you know that energy just seems to be there. I mean, in Scream 4 and Scream 5, his performance was okay, I'd say, but it just didn't come across as that good old Ghostface that that just that nastiness in the first installment or the second installment. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of Scream 3, but it is what it is. Um, you know, it does look better in hindsight, but I think Roger Jackson did a fantastic job. Um, let's see. Samara Weaving. Oh my goodness. She is one of my favorite recent Scream queens, along with Jenna Ortega as well. But Samara has done a fantastic job in pretty much every film that I've seen her in. Um, Let's go into a little bit in regards to Hayden. Ah, it was such a good thing to see Hayden back. Um, we thought Kirby was a goner in Scream 4, to be honest. But, you gotta go by those, film rules that if you don't see them actually take their last breath or they're, decapitated or something like that, you know, there's, you can almost count on them possibly coming back. There's a bit of a leeway there. Let's see here. Let's go into a little bit of the spoilers. Now, in regards to the spoiler section, I must say before I get into it, the Scream franchise, it constantly impresses me. I mean, the fact that this is the sixth installment, and the fact that I'm as pleased as I am with this is a testament in itself. I mean, not many series get to a part six where they don't really have a really low. Like for most people, it's part three, but it's really not that bad. It's just bad for the Scream franchise. But let's get into these spoilers. All right, so we start off with the intro. Now we start off with Samara Weaving's character, who's a college professor, and she's going on like this date, and she's at the bar kicking it, and she receives a text from her date that says that they're lost. So a little bit of flirty banter is going on, and how Ghostface likes to play. He's playing. He's asking questions and things like that. So he basically lures her out into the open, and he's playing with her, and he's trying to get her to come out, and he basically tricks her, and the way that he gets her, wow. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's better left seen, but wow, it's a pretty cool way that he got her. But lo and behold, that's not it in regards to the intro. It turns out that the killer unmasks themselves, and you're kind of like, okay, what's going on here? But as it goes on, they're getting rid of their costume, and as they're going back to their apartment, they're talking to their partner, and he's basically apologizing, saying that I know we were supposed to go out on kills together, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to go and do this. It's kind of like a practice run, so to speak. So Samara Weaving's character isn't their main objective. Turns out that Sam is, and the rest of their crew. What this particular guy does, his name is Jason, and his roommate Greg, they want to continue Richie's plan from the previous film. So, as he's talking to Greg, it turns out that that's not actually Greg on the phone, and this is another Ghostface. So, Jason's really freaked out. So it turns out that Ghostface wants to play a game with Jason. And with this particular game, what he's going to do is play warmer, colder. So the game goes on, and he gets to the hottest spot, which is the refrigerator. He opens it up, and Greg is there, chopped up in pieces. And of course, Ghostface, comes in and does his thing with Jason. Bam. End of the intro, and perfect way to start off the film. It's just like, wow, we've never experienced something like this. So we're off to going. So this is pretty much the next year. The Carpenter sisters are living in New York City. The Meeks Martin twins, Chad and Mindy, they are living with them as well. As because they're all going to college, except for Sam, who mainly wants to come along to keep an eye out on Tara. So, Sam's also taking therapy. She's being that overprotective sister. She's changing her meds. She's trying to keep a handle on things. I mean, they've all been through a very traumatic experience, as all the survivors of the Scream films have. So, they get the reports in regards to the new killings that have come about. And this is one of those things that's just like really, really messing with Sam because, for one, over the past years, rumors have persisted that the entire killings from the previous film have been, the result of some sort of mastermind scheme that Sam has put together herself. And she was the one who framed Richie in the last film. And it was just a funny, funny one. So they think that Richie and Amber were framed by Sam. So there's been a campaign to really like sully her name. So she's been very stressed. So with these recent killings, it's really ramped things up. They go into go mode. They're like, okay, we need to get out of the city. Their roommate Quinn, um, her father is a detective, and he calls them in for questioning, mainly Sam. On the way, Sam gets called by Ghostface from Richie's phone number. Now, Sam never deleted his contact, and it's fun as soon as it lights up. His face comes up and everything, and I imagine that had to have been so crazy for her to see that. Ghostface comes out of nowhere and decides he's going to attack Sam and Tara in public. So they're running. I mean, they do the smart thing that anyone would do. They want to go into a place that's full of people, and they run into the store. Wow, that store sequence. Oh wow, that's one thing I will give this particular entry of Scream. They really, really ramped up the tension. So that particular bodega scene is, oh wow, crazy. Ghostface goes out there killing people, left and right. People are running everywhere. People are scattering, and he, attacks. He gets the upper leg on the store owner, or the guy behind the counter at the store. And oh my goodness, let me tell you, if Ghostface is terrifying with a knife, let me tell you, with a shotgun like that, with some range on him, and that's scary. So somehow the sisters, evade him long enough to, get some cover. The police come and they go to the station. And who is at the station with to meet them other than Miss Kirby Reed? She is alive and well from Scream 4. And so she correlates with Quinn's father, Detective Wayne Bailey, in regards to the case because she has jurisdiction over the case because she's FBI. She's a special agent. She's doing well for herself. She's down in Atlanta and she's been tracking, the online activity of Sam and Tara. They're leaving the station because they have solid alibis, and hell, they were attacked on the way to the station. And it's obviously on tape that they weren't the ones that did it. So, who is outside of the station? But of course, the media. And this is New York City, and this is the playground of one Gail Weathers as well. And of course, Gail went back on her word in regards to not looking for clout in regards to surviving Scream 5. And, Sam and Tara are not very happy to see her. We have a little bit of a callback to Scream 1 with some fisticuffs. You just got to say, Gail has quite the chin on her. It comes out that Sam's therapist, who was unable to handle the fact that she was Billy Loomis's daughter. She was a survivor of the attacks and all the things that have been going on in her life. Um, he is attacked. Um, and that's an important thing because he was her alibi for the time of the murders. So that is a very, very important thing because Ghostface kills the therapist and he steals Sam's files from him. So there is no record of Sam being there with him at all. Now, there's another thing that Ghostface is doing. He is leaving Ghostface masks at the scene of the crime. Now, these are actual masks that are from Woodsboro and other killings within the franchise. So basically, what's going on now is the core four are hanging together along with Quinn and their other friends, and they're at their apartment and they're watching the news. They're learning that Sam's therapist has been killed, that Sam is a suspect. So much is going on. And Ghostface attacks the group again. He kills Quinn and he kills Annika. And, it's a very, very tense scene in the apartment again. Like, literally, it is really ramped up. You were down two friends. So the way that they have to escape is there's this guy across the hall from Sam who is a neighbor. And she's basically been keeping her, her relationship with him secret from everyone else. She just doesn't want anyone to know that she's just, moving on to someone else, that she's, coming close to someone else and things like that. But also in the Scream franchise, coming close to someone else can be to your own detriment. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, let's keep someone that we're, kind of having a crush on within, arm's length. We can't let them become too close to us. But he's the one who actually, blows the whistle on the whole thing. He sees Ghostface attack Quinn and he alerts Sam and, he gets a ladder out because their apartments are windows across from each other. So that's that tense scene that you see in the trailers of them going across. So that's how Annika dies. She doesn't make it across. And it's just a tragic thing. So after that ordeal, Detective Bailey, he comes and witnesses the body of his daughter, Quinn. And it's a very, very sad scene. It is. But he's vowing to make sure that his daughter's killer is brought to justice. He's going to avenge her death. And Gail comes about with some very, very big news. She has found this abandoned theater while investigating, and basically turns out that it is a shrine to all the Ghostface killers. I mean, it includes all types of memorabilia. I mean, stuff that, in real life comes about. You have these serial killers in real life, and you do have, this bit of controversy where items that are linked to these cases somehow get out into the world and, are bought by, actual people. You have Jeffrey Dahmer's glasses. You have artwork done by John Wayne Gacy. You have so many things that are out there that are memorabilia from serial killers. So this is very interesting to see in the Scream world because we know how big the Stab franchise is in the Scream world. Okay, fast forward to another pivotal part of the film. Ghostface attack on Gail. So the group basically splits up. Another thing, OG rule from the series. You would think they would know better, but they split up, and Ghostface is one step ahead of them. They think that they're the targets, but actually Gail is. So, Gail's with her new guy, and Ghostface attacks them, and another very, very tense scene. I mean, this was probably the most tense Scream entry since 2. Another reason why I say this is like a spiritual successor to Scream 2. So that's pretty awesome to see that. But I mean, Gail has been through a lot. You guys have to give it up to Gail. She has come a long, long way since the first Scream. She's a total badass. She's ready. She wants to smoke for real with Ghostface. So, um, you know, Ghostface, almost gets the upper hand on her, but she fights. She fights with every little bit that she has left in her, and that really works out to her benefit because Sam and Tara get there on time to basically come to her defense. Ghostface scatters, and it gets to a very, very emotional scene. Oh my gosh! Let me tell you guys this. Uh, if that was the end of Gale in the series, that would have been absolutely perfect. Um, the the reason why I kind of knew that Gale wasn't going to actually die was the fact that Dewey died in the previous entry. So I don't think that it would just make sense to kill Courtney Cox in the next entry after they killed Dewey. But oh my gosh, they tugged at our heartstrings with the whole tell Sydney that he didn't get me part. Oh man, my heart. It was almost too much for me to take, travelers. But um, they come up with the idea. The group decides that they're going to just confront Ghostface and they're going to trap him. So they contact Kirby and decide that they're going to set an ambush at the theater. Now, on their way to the theater, they have to make it to the subway. And this is Halloween. I forgot to mention that this film takes place during the Halloween season. Um, and in the midst of the crowd, they get separated. So Mindy and the other new friend, Ethan, who has been on Mindy's radar, she's like, "You're the killer. I know you're a killer. I know you're Ghostface." But he's such a dorky guy that you kind of have that feel where it's like, could he be Ghostface? I don't know. But he's basically letting her know. He's basically letting Mindy know that, hey, I'm not a threat, but I'm here. I'm here to look out for you. So we have most of the group on this one train, and we have Mindy and Ethan on this other train behind them. So we are on these packed carts full of passengers, and this is a cool scene because we have people dressed up as characters from A Nightmare on Elm Street. We have Freddy Krueger, we have Pinhead, we have Tethers from Jordan Peele's Us. There's a lot of homage paid to horror in that particular scene. And again, it's another one of those tense scenes that we've been receiving throughout the film. And it's really cool because it's really playing with you because there are, as I mentioned earlier, ghost face mask sales have been skyrocketing since the attacks have started up again in New York City. So we have a few people on the trains that have ghost face masks. And like, any public transportation, you have people that are getting up from one spot to another, getting off at their stops and things of that nature. So, you know, everything's really, really thick with tension to where it's just like, okay, is this actually Ghostface or is this a person that's just wearing a costume? And it toys with you a bit in regards to that. So it's a very, very fun thing. Um, but after all of this, it turns out that the core group was safe and the person that was in danger was actually Mindy. Now, Mindy gets stabbed by Ghostface pretty pretty gruesomely and in public. But this is New York City, so it's kind of like, all right, I'm just minding my business. All right, whatever. But Ethan witnesses it, and he comes to Mindy's defense. They get Mindy some help, and so it's just one of those things where we're down another member. So the other group, they make it to the theater and they decide that, yeah, all right, Sam's boyfriend guy, hey, I know you're cool, I know you're new, you're funny, you're a great guy, or at least you seem like it, but this is where the buck stops for you. So they leave him outside, and the core four go inside, and it doesn't take long before they notice again Ghostface is one step ahead of them, and they are locked in. Um, at that particular point, people are giving the side eye at Kirby, like, oh my gosh, okay, is Kirby involved in this? This is supposed to be foolproof, and now we're locked in. Kirby has disappeared. Ghostface has appeared, and he starts attacking again. But before that happens, Sam's looking at the shrine again, and she's starting to see her hallucinations of her father Billy again, and he's basically telling her, "Hey, girl, it's that time. We need to go ahead and get some kills in. This is our time that that this is what you're made for. This is in your blood. We're not going to go out like that. So she decides that what, maybe you're right. So she decides to defend herself. She takes her father's knife and she's going to put it to use. Now, Detective Bailey calls Sam, and he lets her know that Kirby has been fired from the FBI months ago, and that she's been, a little bit, off her rocker lately. So that definitely casts some doubt on Kirby, but it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, let's see how it goes. Out of nowhere, it's another ghost face that appears. It's two ghost face now. And oh my gosh, it attacks the group. The group almost, they're fighting for their lives, but Chad, he gets some good stabs in. Chad, he goes down. Um he was a trooper for real. But Tara and Sam, they're trying to escape, and Kirby comes out. She's, bloody, bruised, and Bailey comes as well, and they both have their guns drawn at each other. Another homage to, almost in a way, to Scream a 1-2, where it's like, okay, who do I trust? They're both saying opposite things, and who's the one that's good and who's in the right here. So out of nowhere, Detective Bailey hauls off and shoots Kirby, and he reveals himself as the third Ghostface. That's right, travelers. We have three Ghostface in this particular entry. Now, this is where it really, really reminds me of Scream 2, because they really ramp up the hokiness after the killer's reveal. Now, it's really campy, and if you're not into that, I can see how it could turn off some people. But for me, I didn't have a problem with it. I really enjoyed it. So it was fun. It was a good point. But it turns out that Detective Bailey is one of the main orchestrator of this. He found out that the other college students were going to kill or attempt to kill Sam and Tara, so he used them as a scapegoat in regards to jumping off his attacks as well. But it turns out that he, along with Quinn, who is still alive, and Ethan, are all related to Richie from the previous film. Detective Bailey is his father, Ethan is his brother, Quinn is his sister, and they are trying to avenge Richie's death. And they are hurt, and that's another tie-in to Scream 2 with Mrs. Loomis being the killer and the one orchestrating it with Mickey. So it's a family affair here again in Scream 6. So it jumps off to another interesting finale where they're Sam and Tara fighting off the Bailey family. There's a lot of chasing. Tara stabbing Ethan and Sam killing Quinn. And it is a good way to end it off. Now, Sam had to trust Tara. That was a very important part of the It's a very important theme of the actual film. So, she lets Tara do her thing, and she ends up stabbing Ethan. And that is a gruesome kill. Jen Ortega really does her thing with that. And, next thing you know, Sam is donning Billy's ghost face costume. And she calls Bailey using the little ghost face voice to taunt him before killing him. And, when she kills him, she has this smile on her face. She's, well, first, before she kills him, she just stabs him, and Tara, yells her name, and she's just like, maybe you should bring him to justice. People are think that, you're a killer or whatever. And then they just think about it and they're like, well, but he did mess with our family. So she decides to kill him, and she enjoys it. And like a killer, she really gets her fix. You could tell that she's really enjoying it. And, what that holds for Sam in Scream 7, who knows? We'll see. But, I'll say that, it turns out that, of course, there's always one final scare. Ethan comes up and Kirby smashes him over the head with the television set that kills Stu. And that's a cool, funny little callback. Um, and it's a cool thing at the end. It turns out that Mindy's still alive, Chad's still alive, and that's cool because they were teasing something between Tara and Chad. So that would be fun to see them explore that in the next film. And it ends with Sam staring at Billy's ghost face mask as she eventually just throws it away, and she walks with Tara off into the city. And, that was a fun time with Scream 6. Um, I definitely enjoyed it. It was a film that, you know, I don't know what fans would really expect out of the sixth installment of any franchise, but the fact that the Scream all the Scream films are so close in regards to their ranking. No matter if you're at the end of the Scream rankings, then that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad film. And that's something that I really appreciate with the franchise. I would probably say that my ranking goes Scream, Scream 2, Scream 4, Scream 6, um, 2022's Scream, aka Scream 5, and lastly Scream 3. Um and I would say that the margin between ranking of 1 and 5 are razor thin, you know, and they can actually change from day to day. But I really enjoyed it. I would say that if you enjoyed Scream 2, go see it. If you enjoyed Scream 5, go see it. If you're a Scream fan in general, go see it. I don't think many people will be disappointed unless you're just that type of fan that's just going to nitpick every single thing, especially in the sixth installment. It's like, come on, man. Like, the fact that they're still going on with it and they're finding fresh things to do. Um, the third Ghostface thing was refreshing. That was something that myself as a fan back in Scream 4, I kind of thought that they would possibly eventually do. Because it was just something that, eventually two Ghostface is just going to run stale. Um, I kind of figured that Detective Bailey had something to do with it, Ethan had something to do with it, and Quinn had something to do with it, but I didn't know in which angle they would possibly be. Those were my three main suspects in the film. It was a pretty fun time. It is the longest one. It's not a perfect film, but I would say that if you're a horror fan, the fact that there's a Scream film in 2023 is amazing. What better time to be a horror fan? Well, travelers, that is my time. I am your travel guide, Brendan, with the Horror Greenbook, letting you know to like, comment, and subscribe. I have plenty of other good things in store for you. Um, it's very scary in those streets, travelers. So let me know that you made it home safely.